The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria is this morning expected to hear a Northwest businessman Suleiman Carrim's application for a postponement. Now, he's been implicated in a multi-million rand tender that the South African Police Service had awarded to alleged criminal kingpin Vusmuzi Cat Matlala's company, Medicare 24. Suleiman, who has not returned to the commission after apparently suffering a heart attack, is also accused of feigning illness to avoid testifying. SABC News reporter Carrim is at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College and has more details for us, no doubt. Kenny, good morning. So before we get to Carrim, can we just go back to yesterday, because that was another marathon session at the Madlanga Commission, wrapping up the testimony of Colonel Brian Padiachi of IDAC, which was in itself very interesting, given how it affects crime intelligence and, of course, that arrest of General Khumalo and others.
Indeed. Good morning to you, Sakina, and to the viewers at home. That was a marathon day of hearings, but it's quite significant to understanding the alleged role of IDAC within crime intelligence and why you seem to always find this unit in close proximity with the division of the South African Police Services. It seems that very important revelations came out as Advocate Silo held up that scant A1 statement to Brian Padiachi, in contrast with his own docket into that case, which sought to advance charges against Brigadier Mukwele, Lieutenant General Dumsani Khumalo and others for the appointment in the Crime Intelligence Division. Upon further questioning and an interrogation into the statement itself, as well as to how IDAC reached certain conclusions and formulated the charge sheets, it seems that the case not only fell apart, but some of the accused, particularly Brigadier Mukwele, was vindicated in this particular process, because it seems that from the evidence, nothing was untoward about her appointment. She met the requirements. The panel was constituted lawfully. And of course, there was nothing untoward other than the fact that Padiachi rather let it slip that he had an issue with the fact that such a General Khan were not included in the panel in order to interview for that particular role. And now it becomes quite clear as to what the possible motivation behind this alleged malicious prosecution could have been. It seems that this might have been a gripe by Major General Khan, who was in the panel before and was excluded out of this one and had little to no control over who was appointed to this particular Megatronics role. But from the evidence itself and what was advanced in order to get those warrants from the court is something that was quite misleading and appears to be something that was a conclusion that they later tried to fit the facts into. This is very worrying and very disturbing evidence for IDAC, a unit that is accused of allegedly being used as a tool in order to fight those factional wars. And we've seen that so far movement is starting to make way in terms of not only looking at some of the cases and reviewing the cases that IDAC is currently looking at with crime intelligence, but of course formulating that ombudsman which will serve as a watchdog for IDAC that is embroiled in serious allegations that require Advocate Andrea Johnson to return to this particular probe and answer those specific questions. We'll get into more of yesterday's details in the next hour. It's over to you in studio.